how you treat your body through movement, through nutrition, the habits that you keep, like that's one of the biggest fundamental tools that you can use to help you manage your stress or become more resilient to stress as well, and reduce inflammation, bloating, and balance out your cortisol. That is something that you really do want to focus on. So a lot of these things I'm talking to you, I'm doing as well, and it really does help me feel my best. A lot of our clients are doing it. The Stress Reset cohort is doing it. But again, I want to lay the foundation so you understand how the body works. Welcome to one of the very first of many episodes on the Logically Fit podcast. If you're new here, hi, I'm Casey Miller. I'm one of the co-hosts on this podcast, and we're going to start this whole new thing. We're going to do like mini episodes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes long. Ideally, Toby and I do like to talk a lot, so we'll see how that goes. So these next series of episodes, I was thinking about what we're going to be doing. What topics should we be going over? Well, we're right in the middle of the Stress Reset cohort that we just started, where it teaches people how to manage their stress and also become more resilient to stress, balance out their cortisol, also support really great hormonal health, gut health, and reduce inflammation. Just because a lot of people, especially after the holidays, it's just like their bodies aren't feeling too great because holidays can be very stressful. Plus, we eat a little bit trash panda mode. We might be eating foods that our body doesn't necessarily like. We might be drinking more alcohol, and we're really feeling it. We're feeling that like the fluffiness and feeling really, really off mentally and physically. And we want to just overcorrect it and reset it. And so just because we're in this mode, I really just want to ride that and really just talk about how you can manage your stress or become more resilient to stress as well, and reduce inflammation, bloating, and balance out your cortisol. That is something that you really do want to focus on, because how you treat your body through movement, through nutrition, the habits that you keep, like that's one of the biggest fundamental tools that you can use to help you improve your situation. Obviously, other things like improving your mental health, talking to somebody, making sure you're improving your relationships, all these different things do help, but your nutrition, fitness, don't skip on that, because that also has such a huge hand in it as well. But before we really dive into, okay, what can you do? What are some effective, practical things that you can start with? I just want to go over like how the body works when it comes to stress, because I think a lot of people really don't understand what it means or how it affects your body when you are in a position of dysregulation is one way to say it. Some people are struggling with adrenal dysfunction or HPA dysfunction, sorry. But HPA dysfunction is definitely something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when they are chronically stressed. And I know that I do when I get blood work done. So a lot of these things I'm talking to you, I'm doing as well. And it really does help me feel my best. A lot of our clients are doing it. The Stress Reset cohort is doing it. But again, I want to lay the foundation so you understand how the body works when this is happening. Okay. So this is an oversimplified analogy, but it really does help people start understanding things. Okay. So when it comes to stress, it doesn't matter whether it's physiological stress, like physical stress, right? Like lack of sleep, drinking too much alcohol, eating foods that don't agree with you, or if it's psychological stress, bosses being an a-hole, family, like your kids are getting sick all the time, and like some people going through divorce or serious things that people go through. It doesn't matter where the stress comes from. Stress is stress to the body. And here's the thing is that, like, I really want to say this, that stress is not bad. Actually, stress, cortisol, those things are great. They're really, really great for you. Actually, there are some people that we see blood work and we're like, the reason why you feel off is because you are not stressing your body enough. And so we need to stress our body a little bit more in controlled manners. Like fitness is a very great example. That's actually one of the things where we alter their programs, their fitness programs, to help them improve their blood work, so that way they can feel their best. So stress and cortisol, like those are imperative for us to be healthy. Like I don't want you to demonize it. Just like, and this is going to tie to the analogy. A lot of the stuff in nutrition fitness actually ties to money in a lot of ways. I use this analogy a lot, and it really does click with people. Is think of stress like your finances, spending and saving, right? And your body's like the bank account, right? And we want to make sure that we're having a healthy bank account. Spending money is not bad. We actually need to spend money to live a high quality of life, paying our bills, paying for schooling, paying for things for our kids, going on vacation. You know what? Like every once in a while, spending a little money on Amazon or something like that. That's not a bad thing, just as long as you have a healthy bank account. Just as long as the systems that you have, you're pouring into your bank account and it's either matching what you're taking out or a little bit more if you're really trying to optimize your bank account. So it's the same thing with your body. It's okay to put yourself in stressful situations. We need that to be optimal. We need to put ourselves into a stressful situation in order to grow and adapt, right? Just like if I want to get stronger and build muscle, I need to put my body under stress by lifting heavier weights or putting more repetitions. In order for me to get smarter, I need to put myself through positions where I am strategically learning something and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Like those things are great. We need that. It's just when it's chronically happening and we don't have a system within our lifestyle that pours back into the bank account, now we're rolling in debt. That's when we're going to see these symptoms. Just like I have a list right here, just in case I don't forget. Like lower energy, like you're just like super fatigued all the time. Even if you get sleep, you're just waking up fatigued. Sleep also is a big thing where people just can't fall asleep or stay asleep, or if they do sleep, they just don't feel well rested. Cravings for sugar is insulin, right, is connected to cortisol. Insulin is an antagonist, actually. So when cortisol goes up, right, our body releases insulin to start dropping it down, right? And it's one of the reasons why chronically stressed people have blood sugar issues or insulin resistance is because cortisol's up all the time. We're constantly stressed. We're constantly in that sympathetic state, which is fight, flight, or freeze. And we're never really in a parasympathetic state, which is rest, digest, recover, right? And so we're always in that fight or flight. We're releasing cortisol up, up, up. And then insulin, our body's releasing insulin to try to get down so that way we can start recovering again. And so they're constantly releasing insulin, insulin, insulin. Our body adapts, it gets used to it. So it becomes resistant to insulin. That's why you see a lot of people that are chronically stressed, or if you're in a stress situation, you'll see that you want more carbs, specifically like sugary carbs. And chronically stressed people tend to have that chronic cravings. That's actually a symptom of that, right? Carbs is actually really great for you, especially with stressed people. We may want to consider having more carbohydrates in our diet. But we want to lean a little bit more towards complex carbohydrates. This is something I'll talk about later in the series. But carbs is really great. Don't demonize it. But if you are just like, this is out of hand and you're like, I might be a chronically stressed person, that might be a symptom there. But you'll also see like increase of like irritability, moodiness. You exacerbate moments like what used to be not really a big deal and you'd be super cool about it and whatever. Now you're freaking out. A lot of parents feel this with their kids too. It's just they're like, I can't regulate my emotions. I don't know why. Low libido is one of the things where you feel like you're not as intimate or ready to go with your significant other, which can really affect a lot of people's relationships. You can see that you're getting cold frequently. Like if you're somebody that always gets colds and sicknesses during the winter, that's actually a huge red flag that your immune system's probably not great. And that may stem from many different things, but a really common one is chronic stress. Digestive issues as well, like your CNS system is directly connected to your hormonal health, your gut health too. Actually, your digestive system has its own nervous system within it too. It's super complex. It's actually really cool. But that's why a lot of people, when they are chronically stressed people, start seeing digestive issues, bloating, can't go to the bathroom regularly, things like that. You also start seeing hormonal imbalances like irregular periods, whether they're shorter or longer, or they're more painful or things like that. Like ladies' periods aren't supposed to be miserable. They really aren't. Maybe thyroid issues, like I said before, low libido. But over a period of time, you'll start seeing blood work, like people that have been chronically stressed for a long period of time, you'll start seeing that they'll have serious hormonal imbalances as well. I am actually one of those people who was the chronic dieter, and now I have thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances that go beyond cortisol, but you can also see that I do have adrenal dysfunction. And over the course of this past couple of years, let's just be honest, last year was actually a pretty stressful year. The year before that, I was trying to, but like this year, I'm actually going full on in and really just managing my stress and just focusing on pouring back into my bank account during this year. So just owning my shit, just being honest with you. Yeah, like I'm one of those people that's definitely going through that. And like I said before, I'm doing the exact same things I'm talking with you about. You'll also see increased anxiety and depression. You'll see burnout, right? And a lot of times people think that burnout might be depression. I've had quite a few clients go through this moment where they're like, I feel just depressed. And I'm like, hey, like I'm not a therapist. This is not my scope of knowledge. But let me ask you this. Is this depression? Is this anxiety? Or is this potentially burnout? And like we go through like, okay, burnout. Have you been pushing really, really hard for a really long time? Then all of a sudden you feel like you crash for a couple days and you feel all rejuvenated again and back and forth, back and forth. Like that is no way to live. There's serious negative consequences when you live between burnout and then hyper productivity, burnout, hyper productivity. So that's also another symptom or another sign of that as well. We can go on and on and on, like brain fog, memory loss, difficulty concentrating, especially with people that have ADHD. Like me, like this really does exacerbate it, and it makes it a lot more it makes it more difficult to be able to manage and kind of adds fuel to the fire. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, you may be the person that is chronically stressed, and this is going to be the series for you. Okay. I definitely want you to listen to all the different little things that you're going to learn through this, because this is going to help you more than you know. Because if you remember anything, the physical will follow the physiological, which is just a fancy way of saying if you are not a healthy person fundamentally, right? Fundamentally healthy inside and out, a healthier person, the physical will not follow, right? Or it'll be very, very resistant to follow. You feel like you're like moving inches when you should be moving miles with the effort that you're putting in. Or you're that person that knows what to do, but just doesn't do it. You run into a lot of self-sabotage, because when we are in a chronic stress state, what happens? We tend to rely on different coping mechanisms that don't necessarily help us, or we start getting into those dopamine hits because we're feeling this feeling of chronic stress or things like that. We don't want to feel that feeling, so we rely on something else. That's why chronically stressed people or people that go through extreme trauma tend to have issues with food, right? Alcohol, drugs, right? We tend to start taking on the behavior patterns that we're not super proud of when we are chronically stressed. And when we're not making really great decisions, we're running into self-sabotage, but also we're running into all these symptoms where we not only are physically, our body feels unhealthy, but mentally we are just so tired, unmotivated. Like it's just piling on like weight on your back while you're trying to run up the mountain. It's just like, let's try to make you healthy first before trying to change the physical goals, whether it's to lose fat or build muscle or perform better as an athlete. I used to be just a performance coach. I used to coach high level weight class athletes. And the biggest thing that I always told every single new athlete that I started with is that if you're not willing to commit to building a solid foundation and being a healthy, just human being first, I can't not make you a great athlete. That's just is what it is. You are not too good for the basics. And that also applies for anybody else. You don't have to be a physical athlete. I like to say anybody that's really trying to manage their stress is trying to be more of a mental athlete. I love that. Actually, that actually is what clicked in my brain, is that I'm no longer like a physical athlete right now. I'm trying to take a break from that, but I am a mental athlete. Like I'm using this stuff to help me live my best life physically or mentally, perform really great, be very present with my clients, help build my business, create content for you guys. And how I look is just a happy side effect for the habits, my priorities, the type of person that I am, right? So with that being said, now we're getting an understanding that it's kind of like a bank account. So if you're a chronically stressed person and you're seeing a lot of these symptoms and you're really like, hey, like I want to change this. I don't want to just change how I physically feel, but mentally, I want to be a better person. I want to fall in love with the person that I'm becoming. I want to be better to the people that rely on me. I want to go after the goals that I have in life, like getting a promotion or building that business or going after a hiking trip. Like I have clients that literally sign up and they're like, I want to go on this ginormous hiking trip or this big adventure, and physically and mentally I'm just not prepared for it, and I want you to help me do that. That's also something too. It's like creating epic memories as well. We need our mental and physical health with that. And again, how you treat your body and your mind is like the foundation to everything that you achieve. So if you're in that state, now we're understanding that if we're in a chronic stress position, we need to start pouring back into the bank account. We need to kind of overcorrect that. We need to take away our spending or minimize our spending as much as possible. And we need to start just pouring things in, things that are going to help us get more into a parasympathetic state, things that are going to be really, really great habits to help us manage our stress better within our life, but also with nutrition and fitness and habits that you have every single day, this can also be a fantastic tool. So in the next videos coming up, I'm going to start going slowly into these things that you can do. I don't really have like a set curriculum, so it's going to be kind of here and there, kind of just spitting out, just being transparent and authentic with you guys. But I'm really excited about this series because again, I've personally been using this. Our clients, whenever we have somebody who is in a chronic stress state, that adrenal dysfunction, or they just really want to get better at managing their stress, this is the exact things that we have them do. Matter of fact, in the stress reset cohort that we're in, we're only in week number 3. So we actually start the actual protocol. The first 2 weeks is like building up. And then week number 3 is when we actually start the 4-week protocol. We already have people messaging us being like, dude, I'm eating more food. I'm working out maybe less, or some people are working out more, but they're doing a different workout that they've never done before. And they're like, I already see a difference in my body. My clothes are already fitting better. I'm down 2 pounds. I feel mentally better. Like I have a client that I'm working with that I've been working for a while. She's a mom. She also works a very, very mentally stressful job as in the school. And then also she helps run like her husband's like side businesses as well, always doing things. And she's also training for a half marathon right now. She's doing one of our hybrid programs, but we've really been honing in on her stress management, and she loves the stress reset cohorts. And so she's already messaged, like we jumped on a coaching call and she was like, dude, normal things that would normally just freak me out, I'm just like, cool, what's the solution? Let's move on. Like, she's like, I feel like a whole different person. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. So stay tuned, apply these things. I promise you, if you commit to this and you get better and you just keep practicing and getting better at this, like it will make such a huge difference, not only physically, but like mentally. My hope is for you to start falling in love with the person that you're becoming when you start doing these things. Okay. So stay tuned to the next episodes. I'll see you next time.